Let's move on in Asia to the Philippines, which brings us to Mega World Corporation. It's the Philippines' biggest office landlord, also involved in that so-called township development. It has a market cap of Filipino pesos, 134.1 billion. Now, if you do the currency conversion of that, that brings you to about $2.7 billion. The yield looks lower at about 1.2%. So this one, Owen, looks a little bit more like, say, Attack, which is developing, you know, the Mall of Africa and all of those associated waterfall type. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. Eastwood City.
Yes, definitely.
Estate dwelling.
Yes, just to get some statistics.
Manila.
Yes, for some statistics before talking about the president who's just been invited by
Mr.
our
Duterte.
president, Donald Trump, to America. He's aggressive. He's one of the dictators in the world that actually have got their economies really doing the right things.
Well, he's kind of like a firebrand guy that got himself elected, but he's not so much a dictator, right? Isn't he? Wasn't he like elected in a fair and fair?
It's just a gentleman with very interesting opinions.
He's not interested in the US, he's interested in China, which makes sense.
Exactly. So it's important, in my view, that he's been invited to go to America and talk about, you know, well, whatever they discuss with Donald Trump.
They got some security issues in the South China Sea. Anyway, we're getting what's
so,
on
so,
your,
so,
what do you got to show us there?
So now, basically, you want to talk about the Philippines economy. It's growing aggressively, and if I may just tell you that the Philippines is a service economy. There's no mining there. There's no big agriculture. It's just services. You know, you've got countries like Australia, China, Japan, etc., having some of their call centers there. They're doing a whole lot of, you know, delivery work, online work. It's just what India used to have before, you know, enterprise, or the business enterprise, or the outsourced business enterprises.
And it's got a substantial internal market as well, big population.
Yes.
Only one way to go, and that's up.
Yes, and you know, it was ruled by America before, so it's a modern country. And they speak English very fluently, and you know,
mean it was it like a vassal state? Was under U.S. administration?
Yes, it was
after the Second World War.
Yes, and obviously, so for that reason, you know, English is a common language there. For that reason, combined with cheap labor, people go there and they set up offices. And I think that the company has done well from a double-digit growth perspective and top-line income. The GDP in Philippines 6.6% for 2016. So you know, you're comparing it with China's growth. And it's smaller than China, so it's fairly nimble as well. But
I like the fact that you're introducing the Chinese example, because of course this region of the world was beset by ideological battles. We don't have to talk about, you know, Vietnam and, you know, Koreas and so on.
Absolutely.
But there's a kind of economic pragmatism that happens there. They're sort of dispensing with some of the formalist approaches, and they prefer to try anything. They're following, in a sense, the Chinese example.
Yes, no, they are. I mean, they're getting more liberal than they used to be.
They're like saying, well, you know what, it's more important to grow at 6%. You can solve a lot of problems that way rather than having arguments.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's so this is a company that I believe will continue to deliver nicely. They, you know, as I said, I mean, they're the biggest landlord for offices in Philippines, and as I said, Philippines being a service-based economy.
I had a look at the website. Andrew Tan is the CEO, founded in 1989, and their signature development, which they call Eastwood City, you know, as I say, looks like from the website, like a kind of a mixed-use, residential, high-end, some dense, some less dense, malls, offices.
Ultimate definition of work, live, and play.
And this is in Manila, which is, of course, also one of those kind of very large, very vibrant Asian capitals with a lot of people all looking to get busy.
103 million people in total. In
the population of the Philippines.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so
that's huge.
No, most definitely. I think that's what I'm saying, that we're not getting African countries right. Imagine what Nigeria could do with the size of population.
If they were growing at that rate.
Yeah, if they could, you know, and
not dependent on like resource exports, which is a good thing, because in a way you get lazy if you're making money from royalties from like oil, whereas a company like this, or rather a country like this, is dependent on those services, economy, and then
on the internal
building
environment,
a tax base piece by piece.
And then just to add on, you know, in terms of the payback period for money invested in developing these assets, whether it's office or residential, is between 4 and 5 years.
Typically, that's the kind of environment they operate in.
You know, and if you're looking at South Africa, it'll take you a lot longer than that to make your returns. So I mean, I believe it's a decent.
And again, accessibility. I did notice there was a rather thinly traded ADR in New York for Mega World, but there didn't seem to be anything.
It is. I mean, realistically speaking, it's a small counter. Anything less than $10 billion, people don't generally invest lots of money in getting the
But
infrastructure
again,
right for
if you
access.
were dead keen to find them, you'd probably be able to get one of the global transaction platforms.
Yes.
Or if you're an institutional investor watching this, you call Merrill Lynch or something. And
Yeah,
and
no,
they'll
and the
sort it
guys
out
will
for you.
get you access. Definitely, definitely. You know, so it's nicely overweight. Some of the South African fund managers are overweight the counter by a minimum of 2 to 3 odd %.
Oh, really? They
in
actually
the
own
property
this thing?
space. Yeah, they do. And it's it's a nice participant in the Morgan Stanley Emerging Property Index as well.
Ah, I see.
So
That's another thought, is that they will actually see this one.
Yeah,
in
so
those
it gets
kinds of
pushed
things.
now by the index trackers.
Yeah, as people pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay, good.